Am I the a-hole for sending my ex's wife a binder documenting his abuse after I found out she was pregnant? I have an ex who I was in an abusive relationship with that ended with quite a bang. He was arrested for harassment and threats with a dangerous weapon, put on probation for 5 years, and can never own a firearm again. The abuse started mentally, then financially, then physically. During my years with him, I did think to save a good amount of evidence of the abuse and documented a lot in personal journals. In the years since, I've gone to a lot of therapy, and I mean a lot, and ended up compiling that documentation into a binder. I basically scrapbooked my way through processing trauma. That binder has been sitting in a storage unit since I moved in with my now husband. Well, I knew that my ex ended up marrying a girl I knew from high school who was sweet and smart. This guy was a deadbeat, even misspelled a tattoo he did on himself. I swear my taste in men isn't total trash. My husband is amazing. But the pair never made sense to me, and I just prayed that he was capable of change and didn't do what he did to me to her. When I found out she was pregnant with his kid, I couldn't stop worrying about her. I found out, as expected, that the story she got was that I was crazy and a cheater and I made things up, and she likely didn't even know about his arrest and conviction. I don't know what their relationship was like behind closed doors, but I knew that I'd have an endless amount of what-ifs if he had a child with her and was anything like he was with me. Nobody deserves the treatment I got, and no child should ever have to see that or think it's okay. So, I made a copy of every single page I put in the binder and packed them up with a handwritten note, offering to talk about anything if she'd like. I gave them to a mutual friend to deliver, so he couldn't intercept them. About a week later, she texted me. We met for coffee, and she brought the papers, pulling pages out one by one and asking for context and comparing the story he told to mine. After a bit, she just sat silently and told me how sorry she was for what I went through. I was a little surprised she believed it without question, and she told me she didn't believe any of it until the official court records and my victim impact statement. Then it was like it all clicked how real it was. I offered her a room or any help if she wanted to leave, but she said she was going to head home and pack a bag for her parents. It's been a few days since, and she's staying with them until she decides her next move, but hasn't told him the real reason behind this all yet. At first, I had no doubt or regret about what I did, but I've had some people tell me that I had no business blowing up her life and that I have no idea what he is like now. But I was doing what I think I would want someone to do for me. I'm not sure. Am I the a-hole? Edit to answer common questions. I found out about the marriage and the pregnancy through screenshots sent to me. It's small-town gossip, not me keeping tabs. I waited until after she was pregnant because I had thought about doing it when I found out they were married, but decided to stay out of it. When I found out she was pregnant, I knew I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't tell her. It pushed me over the edge because he had caused a miscarriage for me, and that's a pain I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. Yes, my husband knows about the past abuse and that I did this, and fully supported me. Even offered to give it to her himself. I currently have a restraining order on him, an incredibly protective guard dog, a security system, and a concealed carry license that I actively use. The people that found out were not for me telling. At first, I only told my mom, who I went to for advice, my husband obviously, and later I told 2 friends who knew every detail just so they knew. Most responses were from people I only kinda know, or don't know at all, because they found out somehow through her. That's all I know. Now for the top comments. I think that she at least had a red flag moment or two for her to suggest you two meet up. Your evidence was likely what she needed to see to make it real. Hopefully you all survive and thrive without this guy. The fact she was comparing what he told her and what she knows now is true, and is spending time with her parents to process, means absolutely she had some ideas something was off. Pregnancy is often when the mask starts to slip with abusers. They know that it's harder to walk away from a relationship when a child is involved, so they relax and let their true personality show. My ex went on to unalive his next wife. So yes, you did the right thing. This is behavior that almost never changes. Oh, that hits. how are you doing? I hope you've gotten any and all help and support you needed to build yourself back after him and that later incident. You're correct. The behavior never changes. OP's case could be treated as a bellwether if current wife ever finds herself needing legal assistance with the marriage and or its dissolution. OP did her an incomprehensibly massive favor. I was okay because I left before I endured too much abuse. The problem for me as far as notifying his fiancée was that I didn't have anything on file or legal grounds. At that point, women just think you had sour grapes and they don't believe each other. I hate to admit that I thought either he'd change or that the abuse would be minimal enough for her to just leave. Story was that he threatened their pets and she didn't leave soon enough, and he snapped using a gun. Pretty horrific, and at that point you'd like to turn back the clock. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my best friend the real reason her fiancé's last relationship ended? So, I, 27 female, have a best friend Sarah, 26 female, who's been with her fiancé Jake, 29 male, for about 2 years now. They just got engaged a couple of months ago, and up until recently, I had no reason to think anything was off. But then I found out who Jake's ex was, and everything changed. Jake used to date a woman named Megan, 30 female, and the reason I know this is because she's actually an old co-worker of mine. We weren't best friends or anything, but I remember when she went through absolute hell because of him. She had to take out a restraining order, and he was charged with stalking and harassment after they broke up. I remember her coming to work shaken up because he would just show up outside her apartment, leave creepy notes, and at one point, he even slashed her tires. I never really connected the dots until Sarah casually mentioned his ex's name in passing. And when I asked her what Jake had told her about the breakup, she gave me the classic story. Megan was crazy, obsessed with him, and made up lies when he tried to move on. I didn't want to interfere in her relationship, but I also couldn't just sit there knowing she might be walking into something dangerous. So, I reached out to Megan and asked if she was okay with me sharing what I knew. She was super understanding and even offered to send Sarah the police reports and the court documents from when everything went down. So I sat down with Sarah and told her the truth. I showed her the actual records, explained what Megan had gone through, and just let her process everything. She was quiet for a while, then said she needed time to think. A couple of days later, she told Jake she wanted to pause the engagement. And now he's absolutely furious with me, calling me a liar and saying I ruined his future. Sarah hasn't officially broken things off, but I know she's really shaken up. Meanwhile, I have mutual friends saying that I should have stayed out of it because people change and I might have destroyed a relationship that had nothing wrong with it. I genuinely thought I was doing the right thing, but now I'm second-guessing myself. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. People do change, but given he never shared this with Sarah, is a red flag. I agree that people can change, but the fact is that Jake never told Sarah about his past. If he had truly changed, he would have been upfront about it. The fact that he kept it hidden says a lot. He's furious and calling you a liar. He hasn't changed. I've sometimes been an a-hole in the past. Nowhere near this great of a-hole, but an a-hole nonetheless. When I realized how dickish I was being, or was called out and realized it, I felt remorse and apologetic. If asked about it, I was honest, owned my mistakes and told my side. Jake did none of this. He hasn't changed. He just held it in longer. You absolutely did the right thing here. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I wish somebody would have warned me about my ex. I think the problem here is Sarah's reaction. She should have handled this in a more discreet manner, especially since the guy might be dangerous. And to tell him exactly who told her what he was like and provided evidence, who has just been proven to be an aggressive and violent liar. She's a complete idiot, or has provided him with a diversion to go after her. I realize there's likely to be some shock, and she blurted it out, but OMG, talk about throwing OP to the wolves. OP is not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to sleep on the couch? I, 22 male, told my girlfriend, 20 female, that I was going to the bar with my friend, 24 male, and his girlfriend, 21 female, to celebrate her birthday. I was leaving at 7 p.m. and said I would be gone for at most 2 hours. I offered to grab my girlfriend fast food for a late dinner. She was okay with this plan. I even texted her a few times while I was there. I only had 1 drink and 1 test tube shot. I paid for the 3 shots to celebrate her 21st. My buddy paid for my drink since he lost a bet on the way to the bar. I got home, and my girlfriend was in bed watching TikToks. I handed her the food bag. Since it was a late dinner, I didn't mind if she wanted to eat in bed. She got up, so I assumed she was going to eat at the table. But instead, she tossed the food in the bin, telling me she had already eaten. Okay, that's fine, but we could have put the food in the fridge. I would have eaten it for breakfast. I mentioned this to her. She started going in on me, saying I was a crappy person for enjoying a drink with some whore, my friend's girlfriend. She saw the photo of us online, a photo of the 3 of us. I had texted her throughout the night and even told her my friend brought his girlfriend since it was her birthday. She didn't respond. She was so mad that she told me to sleep on the couch. She said I was drunk and that she feared for her safety. I wasn't drunk and I wasn't going to harm her. I refused to move. I paid for this bed. She grabbed the blankets off me and threw my pillow across the room, knocking over my desk lamp. I told her to stop being such a bee and to just sleep, that we could talk about it in the morning. She got defensive and left. I didn't try to stop her or even text or call. I guess she went to her parents' house. Her friends are telling me that I'm the a-hole, while my friend and his girlfriend are telling me to break up with her, that I don't need that toxicity in my life. Edit. I apologize for my misleading first sentence. The original plan was just drinks with my buddy. The plans changed, his girlfriend joining us throughout the night, and I texted my girlfriend to update her. I never received any texts back. I took no response as an okay from my girlfriend. To clarify, my girlfriend is underage and legally can be carded and escorted out by any staff for being near a bar or casino in my state. Not the a-hole. Sounds like there's a lot more issues than just you going out in this whole food situation. Mate, your need to break up yesterday. That girl is a liability. This time she assaulted you, broke your stuff and left. Next time you will be the one driving off in the back of the police cruiser. No. Don't stick your junk in crazy, bro. If I was him, she'd come back to find her stuff packed on the front porch. No way is she stepping foot inside again. Not the a-hole. From a 42-year-old dude, do not let her back in the apartment and do not meet without witnesses and break up immediately. She basically threatened you by saying she fears for her safety by you. Put all her things in bags and leave it outside the door. Don't leave it outside the door. Legally, you will be responsible for her stuff if something happens to it. You also cannot change the locks if you were living together, regardless of if she was on the lease or paid rent. Go apply for a temporary restraining order. Source: Cop, 15 years of handling domestics. Mini update. I have been texting a few of her friends to clarify what was being said. That made me the a-hole. My girlfriend told them I had hit her in a drunken rage. I feel sick about this. If you believe me, but because they are her friends, they feel they have to support her. Thankfully, she doesn't have a key. Her friends who believe me are coming over to pack her belongings. I'm cutting all ties with her. I don't know. I guess all I can say is I wish her the best. Last story. Am I the a-hole for thinking about divorcing my wife after she drunkenly exposed me to our group of friends? The issue happened Saturday night. We had our friend group over. There are 6 couples in the group, and we were hosting at our house. The night was progressing pretty normally. We had done dinner and were just hanging on the couches chatting. Everyone had been drinking over the course of the evening, so we were all pretty comfy. My wife Amy, all names fake, was talking with one of the other girls about my new job. I recently got a promotion that comes with a nice raise. The downside is that I have to travel a decent amount, up to 2 weeks a month, but only 3 to 4 days at a time at most. We were excited for the changes the extra income would bring and how it would impact our future, so the travel was something we agreed was worth it. As they were chatting, her friend Pamela was talking about how they make it work since her husband also travels for work a lot. The conversation was actually quite helpful, honestly, in a lot of ways. There were some good ideas in there. That is, until it happened. Heidi jokingly said, and be sure to order some sex toys that are the same size as him, so you can still have sex while he is gone. She was giggling, just making light of the fact that I would be gone, and that the biggest challenge they had was the interruption to their sex life. No harm in this, right? That is, until my wife says it. I don't think they make them that tiny. Guys, I went totally pale. Everyone stopped talking and you could just feel the awkwardness in the room. I think she realized what she had said because she tried to backpedal. But the damage was done. I just stared at her in disbelief. She kept trying to backpedal and saying, "I'm so sorry." I just stood up and walked out. I didn't know what to say or do. I headed over to a buddy's house. I was sober. I don't drink. I didn't tell him the story, just that we had an argument. But I feel so violated by Amy. Now, the backstory here. What she said is most likely true. I am not endowed at all. I have known this basically my whole life. Any guy can back me up when I say we are all conscious of our size. I have always been super insecure about mine. But our sex life was never lacking because I made up for it in other ways in the bedroom, and she has never lacked in the orgasm department. We just get there other ways sometimes. Now here is where I feel like the a-hole. I want to divorce her. I feel so violated. I feel like I can never see these friends again. I feel like all they will be thinking about when I'm around is her comment and, well, how tiny is it really? But my a-hole feeling comes in, because I've also known for a long time that it's small, so I steered into this kid, I guess you could say, and am more submissive in the bedroom, and enjoy it when she pokes fun at it in private. But that was just us. Now I feel so violated with it being public knowledge. But I also may have made my bed here by being okay with the dirty talk? I don't know. And for those wondering, yes, she has called and texted a ton yesterday apologizing for outing me, but I told her I needed space for a bit. Honestly, I don't even know if I'll read the replies. I just needed to vent this somewhere. I have no one to talk to about it. My buddy I'm staying with just thinks we had a fight. I feel so lost. I feel like an a-hole, but I just don't know if I can trust her again or feel secure enough to see any of them again. Nah, man, you're not the a-hole. Your wife basically speedran your worst insecurity in front of all your friends like it was open mic night. There's a massive difference between playful teasing in private and public humiliation, and she knows that, which is why she instantly started backpedaling. You didn't make your bed by being into a little playful dirty talk. That's between you two. She crossed the line when she made your bedroom dynamic a group discussion. I'd take all the space you need, because trust isn't easy to rebuild after something like this. Not saying you have to divorce her, but you definitely deserve a partner who hypes you up, not one who puts you on blast for a cheap laugh. Thanks for the input. I plan having talking with her about it today. I just feel like my trust was so violated that I don't know it can be repaired. That's my core issue more than anything. You phrased it well about the insecurity component. That I think will help me be able to constructively have a conversation, hopefully. Thank you. Is it possible that she already told the female friend group, which is why it came out easily? It is about character and maturity, not the friends' opinions. Honestly, that's a thought that has been in my head that I think makes me the most anxious.